Hi there, my name is Abram Gregorian, and then I chose to do this picture of Christy Noam because it really stood out to me, and then it was one of the most familiar pictures. Especially with the going on situation, I felt like it does fit in with the theme. The main moral foundation that really looked at me once I opened this picture, it was what I thought of was the authority and subversion. So on this picture, we can see the Homeland Security Secretary Kristen Noem when she visited the mega prison in El Salvador back on March 26th of 2025. So we can see that she's wearing the Homeland Security hat with their official logo on it. She's dressed nicely, and then people also noticed the $50,000 watch on her wrist being a Rolex watch. And then she is standing in front of a cell with dozens of tattooed people locked up in there that were deported from the United States shortly before this. So Jonathan Hyde explained that this foundation comes from a long history of living in groups back in the history um, where order and hierarchy were needed. He said that, quote, people need to know their place in their social order and they need to show proper respect for authority. So in this photo, authority is shown clearly. Like we can see her. She's just sitting right there, representing the United States. She is sitting in front of a row of prisoners, who are all tattooed, crowded, together behind the bars. The confidence that she has, she's standing there straight up. She was recording a video, I believe, which then later on made it to the web, and a lot of people were reposting it as of, hey, look, these are the criminals that were deported from the United States back to El Salvador, and then this is like the conditions that they're living in. So her confidence, her merch of the secret of the Homeland Security, just her watch on her hand, right? It all gives us like signals of power and dominance that she was holding at that moment. The prisoners, on the other hand, behind her, are tightly controlled, stripped of freedom, and literally forced to be there. This creates the strong image authority of being enforced. Um, for people who value order and respect for the rules, they might like this photograph as it does demonstrate a strong authority and dominance over a certain group of people. As she's standing firm against and then there are people that would just look at this like it's been taken too far, turning this oppression into like humiliation. Haidt said, quote, authority should not be confused with power. It is the glue that holds societies together. Some people, like I said, might be against this. They might say that this is not a right way to treat people, to deport them just because of their looks, basically, and then to just show them on the internet or to the world. But others may support this, and then they might be against gang members, against crime, and then against chaos in their country. So they would love to support this. Some of the other moral foundations that I really noticed in this photo was the care and harm. Some people may feel empathy for the prisoners, right? Seeing them as poorly treated, um, and then really harmed by the conditions that they're currently being held in. Others might argue that imprisoning them protects innocent people that live in the United States from harm, right? As you never know if one of these people behind the bars would do something, would kill someone, right? As they are going based off. Um, The other fact, as a fairness in cheating, it really justice questions arise, I would say. Is it really fair to treat people this way, or is it fair to punish them for something that they supposedly did or didn't do? Most didn't, but just going based off a small sample, we are assuming the whole population, and then we're taking into consideration the whole population, the whole nation, as of their environment. Um, the other the other fact, right, as of the other moral foundation, I should say, loyalty and betrayal. For Noam supporters, for the U.S. supporters, right, for Secretary Kristen Noam, standing in prison shows the loyalty to her country. As the people who were deported from the U.S., she went in as the representative of the United States, and then she did look at their conditions, and their how they are being treated in there. Um, and then that does show that the U.S. is that our nation is against the international gang members coming in here, and then starting gangs here, and then completing with all of their agendas over here in the U.S. But other people may say that this is betrayal of American values like human rights. Yeah, it really depends on their perspective. So as of the moral significance of this picture, is what highlights the tension between order and oppression, I would say, right? So authority is necessary to keep the order, keep the laws, follow the laws, and keep the society together. But sometimes the authority can be abused. In this case, people saw like people on the political right, they like the authority that's being shown here. They like the laws that are being enforced. They like that people that came into the country illegally, have done illegal things in their country, need to be deported. They need to raise the toughness, the control, on them, and then show what the law is in the United States. But people on the political left, would criticize this image, and then would call this degradation, arguing that the prisoners are treated are less than human. Well known literally represents the U.S. just casually wearing a $50,000 watch in front of them. So I I wouldn't consider myself as a person on the right or a left, and especially in this discussion, I wouldn't really want to raise my opinion on this, as that is not the topic of this video. But yes, like, there are people that say this is not right, it shouldn't be this way, and then there are also people that are saying the law should be enforced, and indeed should be covered with a lot of criminals being deported from the country, especially if they're here illegally. So, that being said, that is the moral and the political significance that we see in this photo. As Kristen Noem representing the U.S., having all the power, she was the main one to really take care of the process of deportation, right? She just went in to visit them. Some, like, a lot of people would say she did the right thing. She went on, she visited them, but also in this picture, as I mentioned, um, they focus more really on her watch, as being a factor of wealth dominance that she represents. Um, and then others might say that this is humiliation, and then this shouldn't be happening. Like, they deported someone. They shouldn't go in and then show the whole world, like, their appearances. They're literally them being behind the bars. It is really a violation of human rights, as being said. Um, yeah, it is. And that's all I had to say today. Thank you.